Hi guys, Matt V's Movies back for another video. Today I'm going to do another little chat video. I did one before about why physical media matters in 2024. A lot of people liked that video. Got a lot of comments on it. So I thought I'd do another one which people might not necessarily like this one, but I think we have to face facts. So let's get into that subject today on the channel. So welcome back. So yeah, I think we have to kind of realise that whilst physical media is in its golden age, I suppose, and getting some wonderful editions coming out, collector's editions, limited editions, a lot of boutique labels are bringing out a lot of films that probably would never have seen the light of day. But one big elephant in the room, which I think we know, obviously the sort of streaming sites have come online. Yes, they're kind of still battling for sort of supremacy. Certain ones, certainly like Disney Plus, Amazon, Netflix, they've all got their sort of niches. Yeah, we do find a lot of these films spread across multiple formats, platforms. But I do think there's going to be some consolidation. But the big thing for me, I think, with the sort of sad death of physical media, which I can see coming at some point, probably by the end of the decade. You've only got to look at the games industry and the way that that's gone. Pretty much now it's all digital. I mean, I'm not a gamer, but they've pretty much gone down the sort of digital route. I know games consoles like your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox, pretty much now the newer models that are coming out are discless. So they've just gone completely digital. So, I mean, yes, I suppose that is a slightly different market because with a lot of these games, there's sort of add-ons that you could buy digitally anyway. Whereas you don't really have that with films. You buy the film, you buy the special features, but we're seeing more and more now studios sort of pushing the digital side of things. One of the most recent things I've heard is Dune Part 2. Apparently there's going to be special features that are exclusive to the digital version, which we're not necessarily going to be getting on the physical. So there's a drive towards pushing the digital, which is ultimately what the studios want. Right from back in the day, the technology wasn't available for studios to have full control over their films. They had to use the physical. We started off with the VHS tapes back in the day, then we had the Laserdisc, DVD, various other little formats that came and went. Then we went to Blu-ray, and now we're in the 4K sort of world. Now sales of DVD are still king. That's still the highest seller, but as we know, certainly in the UK region, DVDs now are kind of limited, certainly to only a couple of supermarkets within the UK. There used to be sort of in every supermarket that we went into, but there's a couple of UK supermarkets still selling a small selection of DVDs and an even smaller selection of Blu-rays. So like other physical media format, Blu-ray and 4K, you've got to go online to get it. And we're starting to see more and more boutique labels cropping up, smaller print runs. As this market shrinks, it's becoming niche. But like I say, the big elephant in the room is the players. Now we used to have a multitude of manufacturers that would make the players, including the games consoles, which have kind of, like I say, the discless ones now. So it's only really the sort of older stock or second-hand market of the games consoles that you can still pick up players, physical players, to play the disc, the Blu-ray disc or the 4K disc with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One S, and I think the Xbox One X. Samsung, they left the market for Blu-ray and 4K. I think it was back in sort of the 2018 time. Now, as far as I know, it's only Panasonic and Sony and possibly LG that are still producing them. Might even be LG not making them anymore. I did have a quick look before I started the recording, and I think definitely Panasonic and Sony are still producing them. I'm not sure on LG, but I don't think Panasonic have a particular big brand in America. I know Sony's still big there, and I know there are some smaller sort of high-end players which are very, very expensive, which are again sort of for the AV enthusiasts. But yeah, again, once we see these players completely cease, as we did with VHS, I know some DVDs are still produced, DVD players. I believe certain retailers in the UK you can still pick up DVD players, but they're few and far between now. You know, there's not many players at all, and as we see, unfortunately, that decrease, certainly on the DVD side of things, because let's be honest, people that bought DVDs really fell into two categories. Either people on limited budgets, because, you know, there's the lower price point of the three formats, not four, and the sort of more occasional sort of viewer, the ones that will now tend to watch streaming, certainly picking up children's DVDs on their supermarket run. Now they just go on to the streaming sites. They're not interested in physical media. They just want to be able to access the films for the children, put the film on for the children. The children don't mind. You know, younger generations now see these discs, you know, even a VHS player is almost like an antique to them. Obviously, for people that are still invested in physical media, you know, these are sort of godsends to us. They're sort of great pieces of equipment that we sort of cherish. But unfortunately, I think as time goes on, unless, again, it has happened with vinyl, but again, there's only a small amount of vinyl manufacturers or turntable manufacturers. You know, again, it's a sort of a niche market. I know it's a growing market, but at the moment it's a niche market. It may happen with physical media, but I think we've got to go to the almost virtual extinction of it to then maybe turn around. I have seen reports that physical media is making a comeback, which is nice to hear. I think a lot of people are kind of ditching the streaming sites because of this sort of saturation amongst all the different streaming services that we have. You know, there's so many to choose from, and only people can afford a certain amount on a budget. However, I still think, unfortunately, for the mass market, which ultimately the studios are appealing to, the digital format is the way it's going to go. You know, it's happened with everything. It's happened with music. I know, you know, people do buy vinyl. Certainly the younger generations are starting to get back into the vinyl. But with music, it's very convenient to have it on the go. You know, you just need it on your phone. You've got all the different music streaming sites, Spotify, etc. I mean, personally, I still have CDs. I still have a CD player in my car, which again is unusual. You know, they don't make CD players in cars anymore. You know, and unfortunately, I just think this is the natural evolution of technology. As much as we don't want it to happen, it's happening. You know, and fingers crossed that there maybe is a niche market, and maybe there will still be one or two players left, maybe by smaller manufacturers. Again, likes of Sony and Panasonic are not going to continue to produce these players if people aren't buying them, if people aren't buying the discs. It's not worth their while. Yeah, there may be smaller manufacturers with limited print runs of, you know, producing these players, because you've got to think about all the components inside of these things and the cost that it, you know, to produce them. If you want something that's high end, it's going to cost you quite a bit of money to buy something like that. And like I say, there are a couple of companies that are still producing high-end players. And I'm sure it's the same with compact discs. There's probably still a few players that are produced, you know, for the high-end AV enthusiast. So when do I think, you know, the players are going to cease? Personally, I think by the end of this decade. I don't want it to happen, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this are saying, no, it's not going to happen. But I don't know, I think we have to face reality. You have to look at all the technologies that have gone before. We're in the digital age. This seems to be what the majority wants, the convenience of streaming, the convenience of digital portability, all this kind of thing. I just think, unfortunately, it is going to happen, you know, at some point. Probably not what people want to hear, but I think we have to be realistic about these things. So yeah, just a small sort of little chat about this. You know, I'm not getting rid of my physical media collection. What I will do is, if the players do cease to exist, which sadly will mean that probably the physical media will cease to exist being produced. Not to say that there may still be some small boutique labels doing small print runs. We're starting to see a lot of discless releases now, sort of, you know, premium editions being created but no discs in them. I can see this continuing, certainly throughout this decade. I'm not so sure about the next decade, yeah, I just think this is the way, unfortunately, you know, it's going to go. But like I say, for me, you know, having a physical media collection, you've got to look to the second-hand market. It's not about physical media disappearing completely, because there will still be the collectors that will still want to collect the old editions. And this is why, and you'll have seen it on my channel, I still collect even DVDs. I did make the decision to stop collecting VHS, partly because of the space. You know, they're quite bulky items. But I'm still searching out the limited edition, special edition DVDs that were produced, because there are some fantastic things made. And it's a great time to collect them because they're so cheap now. So, you know, I still look out for those, and it's still wonderful to get something like that in your collection. Yes, we are seeing these special editions on the 4K sets that are coming out, but for how much longer is in debate. Personally, as I say, I give it 5 years. You know, where are we now? 2024. Yeah, maybe six years. But if you look at the gaming market and the way that's gone, I think sadly it's going to be the way of physical media for films. We've already seen, you know, companies that produce TV series. I forget the name of the company, but I know they've gone under. Some wonderful TV series from the, you know, back in the day. You know, just be on pre-owned stuff now. It's just a shame, but I can't see another company coming along and taking that, because they know it's a shrinking market. But there we go, it's just my sort of little thoughts on it. So yeah, interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments. You know, what do you think? Do you think we're still going to see physical media players for the next 10-20 years? Do you see it increasing, or do you agree with me that you think it's got a limited lifespan? Do you see, you know, it just becoming more and more niche as the years go on? I mean, it's nice to see all these limited editions, special editions of films, you know, ramping up as we've seen over the last couple of years. But is it kind of like the sort of, you know, the sort of the grand finale before it kind of dies? Personally, I think that's the way it's going to go. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in those comments. So if you like this sort of video where I just sort of turn on the camera, just chat to you about something on my mind, why not give us a thumbs up? That really does help. And yeah, so if I decide to do another one of these again, I'll let you know. But I'm doing some podcasts as well with AJ over at AJ's Movie Place on these sort of subjects, different subjects about physical media. So if you like these sorts of, you know, chats, yeah, why not go and check out the playlist for those? And we've got some more upcoming, and there's some more on the playlist for you to enjoy. Well, that's the end of the video, guys. Take care and see you in the next one.